Hi, David Hood here, the Dallas SEO Geek, and this video is about the biggest SEO myths and misunderstandings. This can really put a big hindrance in your ability to make money online, also to evaluate potential consultants that help your companies, because a lot of them will propagate a lot of these myths and misunderstandings. Because they just don't know any better, or because there's a lot of just kind of regurgitation of what other people are talking about that goes on in the SEO industry. But for someone like me who's really flexible and who takes a really scientific approach about it and really looks at it like what's real here and isn't and forms my own judgments, there's a lot of things that I've identified, and most of the people that I know that are really good at SEO understand this, but there's a lot of people that who are kind of middling SEO people who know a little bit and enough to think that they know a lot more than they really do will completely fail this. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Let's see. Oops. Okay, so content marketing is SEO. This is a big one that's been propagating for a long time, and it's just kind of silly. So first of all, content marketing is not SEO. Content marketing is content marketing. And so if you don't know what content marketing is, it's the kind of the new way of doing SEO, where really you're kind of following exactly what Google says, sort of, not exactly, but sort of. Hold on. But in that, hey, you just build a bunch of great content, and then people will come and you'll get SEO for it. And while that can work and can make you money, it is not in itself SEO. It can be a part of an SEO plan if it's something that fits your business. But again, it is not SEO, okay? None of that is not the only path for SEO. It's far from the only path. There's lots of different paths, and while it is good to create good content, it's not necessarily a good plan just to say, hey, I'm just going to create great content and then the people will come. It's not really true. It's not really how it works. It can work, but in general, it does not work. It is not the best path for most businesses, especially for local businesses. It's almost always not the best path. There are some businesses for which it's a very good path, and it can be one of the most profitable or the most profitable for them. But that is a very small percentage of the businesses. The reason for it being is that there's a very long time to get the ROI. A lot of these content marketing things, it takes, unless you get really lucky, it takes a year or two or three to start even seeing an ROI, if you are going to see an ROI. Sometimes people will spend 2 years, they'll hire someone full-time to pump out content on a regular basis, and they'll get nothing for 2 years. So that is totally what is possible. Furthermore, I don't put this in here, but it's not using your resources efficiently. Yes, building good content is good, but you want to put it in the context of a bigger SEO plan that really understands what your market is searching and how to target that and how to structure a site around great content so that Google, so that it maximizes the possibility for you to rank for the search phrases, but also so Google understands it in an organized manner. That's tough. Say that 3 times real fast, okay? The other thing is, it's just a dime a dozen plan. This is what everybody else does, right? So it's not really going to separate you from the pack. Yeah, you can have great content and not get results, or you can have mediocre content and get great results if you really know what you're doing. So I don't know why I keep getting this. Let's just say, okay. So okay, I think I've covered that, and if you have more questions about that, feel free to give me a call. Okay, this is a big one that is propagated by just about everybody, and only like the really, really good people that I know understand this on a fundamental level, and they'll say the same thing. I mean, there's really white hat, black hat, gray hat. It's not true. There's just kind of a big. There's nothing. It's not there. All SEO is essentially black hat, because as soon as you do anything that's related to just to building a link or trying to think about SEO at all and putting it on your site, then you're officially breaking the Google's terms of services, right? So the fact that people go, oh, black hat, white hat, or I'm always white hat. Anyone who says, oh, I'm white hat SEO, you can immediately cross them off their list because they don't know what they're talking about, right? They're just doing that because people have an emotional response to it, and there's a lot of clients that come to me, and I understand that this puts me in the light of, oh, well, of course, someone who uses black hat is going to say that this is true. No, I mean, while I'm willing to take that risk, that's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because it's true. All SEO is black hat, period. And here's what you get. You got 100,000 judges who are ignorant about SEO, who really don't know SEO on a really good level. They're not real experts, and they're getting this message from a handful of authorities, and it's grown over the years. And now it's like, oh, it's an ethical or moral judgment. If you don't do what is officially labeled as white hat, then you're a bad person, or you're doing something completely wrong, or that increases, or a great one, that increases your chances of getting penalized, which none of that is true. You can get penalized for what is officially white hat, or you can get, I've seen lots of people with officially black hat skate through. It's just a really horrible metric to measure things, and all the best people I know, they say, hey, no hat SEO. That's what I do. That's what they do, and that's just the best way to go about it. Is what works and what makes sense, and what's legal, right? So there is illegal methods. Some people they'll hack someone's site to get a link on it. That's obviously illegal. That's nothing I would do. What I do is, the best way I think to look at it is quality versus quantity. And I'm heavily on the side of quality. Always quality, 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 quality. So as opposed to sending out 100 medium quality links or 1,000 or 10,000 medium to low quality links, I'd rather do 10 or even just 5 really good quality links, and that's going to show in the results. And that power has amplified over time. So this is a better way. Do you do quality or quantity, right? That's a much better question than do you do white hat SEO. So if someone comes to you and they're really touting that white hat SEO, then they probably don't know a whole lot about SEO. Honestly, it's a way of hiding their ignorance of all the different things of how SEO really works. A good way to look at it is spam versus non-spam. I don't really like using spam. It's gotten less effective over the years, and this goes back to the quality versus quantity. Again, this is not necessarily a moral judgment. Creating spam does create some waste, but also spam is kind of hard to define, because you can create one piece of content that is spam, and you can create 100 pieces of quality content. So where does the spam line draw? Yeah, I mean, there's ways in which you can go on and make 50,000 blog posts. You can pay someone to make 50,000 blog posts in a couple days. Not blog posts, but blog comments. Okay, that's clearly spam, right? I don't think that's really an ethical or moral judgment. It's just, does that work? It doesn't really work anymore. And so it's not something that I would even recommend. Again, quality over quantity, that's just the way it's going forward. So this is a big one, and really understanding this well can take you a long way to understanding what's the best path for you. Okay, duplicate content kills you. And I was guilty of this several years ago. I thought, oh, you just don't want duplicate content. You want to check on your site, and if you have duplicate content, it's really important that you go fix it. And, well, there are certain conditions to where that is important. By and large, it's much less likely that it's going to hurt you than it does hurt you. Now, if there's a competitor who's competing with you, and they steal your content, competitor that's going to be competing with you, that could be something that you would want to look at. But that's rare, and usually that doesn't even come back to bite you. And I'll explain why that is. So, what's the real way that Google looks at duplicate content? Really, what their main purpose with duplicate content is to not show the same results for the same search phrase. So, if you're looking at one search phrase and you're number one, and someone comes in and copies your content and puts it on their site, thinking, oh, well, I'm going to rank really well. Well, Google's going to see that, and they're going to pick. Chances are very high that they're going to pick your site over theirs, and they're just not going to. They're going to completely ignore theirs, right? So maybe if you had just built your content and someone copied it and did some things to make Google think that they made it first, then that's a very rare case in which it could hurt you. But what it also does is, let's say you're a plumber in Dallas, and a plumber in Phoenix copies your content and puts it on their site. That's not going to hurt you at all, okay? Because you're not competing for the same search phrases. You're competing for plumber Dallas or competing for plumber Phoenix, whatever. That's not going to hurt you, okay? And so, one of the conditions to avoid is, copying direct competitors' content or trying to rank the same content for the same search phrases. Okay, you can actually duplicate your content to your own advantage. One really easy way to do this is you create a video and you can put it on different pages and use it as the content for different pages. Okay, you can also take your content, I've done this before, and you copy it and you make slight changes on a different page that you're trying to work for a different search phrase. This is something that's very useful and is natural. So there's nothing wrong with this. This is not wrong, and it's not something that Google will immediately penalize. Yeah, there are duplicate content ways that Google sees and will penalize, but by and large, it's not something that it should be of a huge concern. Okay, here's one. Big social media presence is required to rank well. Well, this may be true for some businesses. It's industry dependent, and by and large, it's not true. And really, you kind of have to think of social media as separate from SEO, in that it has its own value in of itself. And if it has value in and of itself, then it's something you can do, and it's something that will help for SEO, but not directly. It's not something that you do it and it helps with your SEO. It's more like you do it, and these people, you engage your audience, and they talk about you online, and that helps with SEO. So it's an indirect path to there, right? That's how it really helps with SEO. And so that's why it's industry dependent, because if you're not going to be able to engage, like, again, a plumber, it's not really something where you're going to be able to engage people heavily on SEO, as opposed to, let's say, if you have like a fashion store or something. That's something that's much more social media dependent. I mean, anything that you can see on Pinterest, generally female-oriented businesses tend to do better with social media, and it's more important. But that's just Pinterest is like 70 or 80% women, and if anything that's highly graphical tends to work well with social media. Here's another thing: Google's level of tracking of social media is pretty low. I think they do see it to a certain extent, and it is important to have like a basic social media presence, like I have in checklist. You kind of want to just check it off. That they're not really very sophisticated about it. Again, they'll see a little bit of it, but overall, I don't think it has a big effect on the algorithm, unless you have like none of it, and you're supposed to have some of it. And really, the most important thing is if your market is out there on social media and you're looking to interact with them, that's the best thing you can do, right? And indirectly, that will help with your SEO. Okay, here's another one. SEO is a dying discipline. It seems like with every major update, there's people crying, SEO is dead. Maybe they got a bunch of their sites penalized, and they're like, oh, not this again. As opposed to me, with every major update, I see it as an opportunity because I'm very flexible. Let's jump down to here. I'm constantly testing and learning, and that's just the way I go about it. And so it's almost always an opportunity, and I rarely get sites to be hurt very much. It does happen from time to time, but that's kind of the risk you pay with SEO. And there's always ways to adjust it, and it's getting easier to be able to adjust, and also to the quality over quantity makes it real easy to not be penalized. Since I've gone that path over the last 18 months, nothing has been penalized that I've done that path on the whole way. Okay, here's the cool thing: it's increasing demand. That's cool for me, not so much as cool for you and your business, but there's an increasing demand because are people searching on their computer? Are people getting on the internet less? No, they're getting on it more. They're using the internet more. They're using the search engines more, right? And there's a decreasing supply because you have a lot of people who quit. Say, this is too hard. Yes, being an SEO is hard. Yes, constantly testing. Yes, having a site that you worked on for a while get a drop because of an algorithm change. It's hard, okay, but that doesn't mean it's not worth it. You can make a lot of money from SEO, especially if you have someone who's really good and you do really high quality SEO. You can make a lot of money even just over a few month period of time. So this is definitely not something that's going away. People are not going to stop searching on the search engines. It's such a unique way to find things, and it's such a powerful way for us to use the internet. How else would you find new things? If there were no search engines, how else would you find new things? I mean, you have to go way back to like the AOL days where you kind of had these little things that were created by publishers, and how did they find it? So I don't see search engines going away anytime soon. All right. Here's the other thing, and I'm going to create a separate video for this bullet point because it's so important and there's so many pieces to it. There are fundamental SEO principles that haven't changed for a while and that aren't changing anytime soon. A couple things that Google's talked about is links. Links are always going to be important, at least for the next many years, because they've tested with not using links and it's always far worse. And that was actually the fundamental difference. There were search engines before Google that did an okay job, but they were the first ones to come in and use links as a way to measure the search results, and they were able to give far better search results as a result. And so that's a fundamental principle. There's lots of other fundamental principles that I'll talk about, but most people don't try to break SEO down to these fundamental principles, so that's why they don't really understand it. And when you have these fundamental principles, it makes it a lot more timeless. And yes, there might be little ups and downs here and there, but if you follow these fundamental principles, overall, things are going to work out for you. So that's all I have, and I appreciate you watching. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to give me a call at 214-504-3848. Again, this is David Hood, the Dallas SEO Geek, 214-504-3848. Have a great day. Bye.